It's October, and a Formula E car has arrived in Africa to enter a race. The Formula E Championship currently competes on 11 street circuits around the globe, including New York, Paris, Rome, Hong Kong, and Marrakesh in Morocco. However, on this occasion, the car won't be lining up against 19 similar machines, but instead it's travelled 5,000 miles south to South Africa to compete against an entirely different beast. This, the cheetah, the fastest land animal on Earth.
We obviously know that electric race cars like the Formula E accelerate 0 to 100 in around 3 seconds. And also we know that cheetahs accelerate to 0 to 100 in around 3 seconds. So this is the perfect competition between an animal and a machine. Here we are seeing two, let's call it beautiful animals. One, an animal of nature like the cheetah. One, a car, a race car, agile, made for speed, especially made for acceleration because electric cars have incredible acceleration, have instant torque. But of course, the cheetah has also instant torque in its own way. And to see those two beautiful beasts competing, especially accelerating, I think is fascinating.
But why stage the race in the first place? Because Formula E wants to make a very important point. It's no secret that the human race is wrecking our planet. Last year, our power stations, factories and transport systems pumped nearly 40 billion tonnes of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That's almost 800 million tonnes more than the year before, and 60% more than in 1990.
Of course, not only humans are affected by these changes that we're suffering in our planet. All the species, the whole ecosystem is under threat. The effect that CO2 is having on the planet by making it hotter is going to make life in different areas of the planet impossible.
If action is not taken quickly, many animals face extinction, the cheetah being one of them.
The cheetah is one of 10 species that's been identified as particularly susceptible to the effects of climate change by the World Wildlife Trust.
We only have one planet. This is a problem we have to address from the source. Electric cars can be a big part of a solution of reducing CO2 emissions all over the world.
Formula E is the first open-wheel motor racing series powered purely by electric motors.
To really minimize the carbon footprint of the whole operation of the championship, we use even electric forklifts. We minimize the trip by plane, we go by ship, by train. And then when we get to the race, those cars have zero emissions.
Staging motor races in itself won't save the planet. However, by showcasing the technology that exists, Formula E hopes more people will turn to electric power. For them, the benefits far outweigh the tiny carbon costs.
I always say the same thing. When you want to make an omelette, you have to break some eggs.
Formula E hopes the Cheetah Challenge will provide another unique and spectacular way to deliver their message.
We are walking onto the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. No one ever has raced a race car against a cheetah. But these are the kind of things we like to do in Formula E.
Organising such a challenge is going to be a massive undertaking, so an advance party has been dispatched to South Africa to understand the logistics involved. First job, find some cheetahs.
I became an animal trainer in the late 80s, through force of circumstance, not wanting to work with people.
The recce team are about to meet a wild cheetah face to face for the very first time. But they're not worried, because Luke has come armed with a white stick.
Cheetahs run at a very high speed for very short distances. And in doing that, their heart rate elevates from 150 beats to up to 250 beats a minute, which means that they overheat quickly. So if you'd like to shoot repeated takes in a certain light in the morning, and you've got one cheetah, you're going to have 10 mornings.
Luckily, Luke's got more than one.
I've got 5 cheetahs, 3 males and 2 females.
Luke will be using the 3 males for the car challenge.
Sergeant Zulu came from a failed walking endeavour in the Eastern Cape. Somebody was going to walk tourists with cheetahs, and it fell apart very quickly. Rocket I bought from a hunting farm. You can see he's significantly smaller than these 2 males. He was kept in a 10-metre by 10-metre enclosure. He'd never run when I got him. He had muscle atrophy, riddled with worms. He was in a really terrible condition, and he's now the fastest runner. Cheetahs like to run, and they like to hunt. And that's their prey drive that's making them chase that. They want to catch that and kill it and eat it. Zulu's killed 2 of my ostriches. I mean, they know how to kill. There's no shortage of that.
Fortunately for the crew, on this day, the cheetahs were happy to chase the lure, a teddy bear on a bit of string. But would they do the same come race day, when they'd be facing a very different environment? Next item on the agenda, find a suitable location.
The idea is to get the road that the cheetah can run on, and then the road that the car can run on. And then ideally, we have our African vista backdrop.
But finding a surface hard and flat enough for the car, yet soft enough for the animal, wasn't so easy.
This surface is too contoured, too bumpy for the car.
Ideal, very hard, and the stones on it, when the cheetah breaks, if it gets near or catches a lure, will rip the pads off its feet.
Right surface, but the backdrop wasn't exactly shouting African Vista. The team were now running out of time. In desperation, they returned to Luke's farm, where Luke puts forward a radical solution: to actually create a road.
Make one here.
Yeah.
OK. How do we do that?
With a grader, a roller, and some water.
But when the team returned the following morning, along with Luke's diminutive road builder, it was clear the task wasn't going to be easy. The problem was the gradient. Luke's field was nowhere near flat, and that meant a lot of earth moving, and that meant a lot of money. Robin has one final option, but there's a catch.
I've seen this airstrip, which I think will work. It seems like it's the right kind of surface, but it's about an hour and a half from here.
I think it's going to work, because if I've got to load the cats early in the morning to get there earlier than early for them to run early, they're already going to be stressed from travelling.
In spite of Luke's reservations, the recce team heads north to Robertson Airfield. It was worth the effort. A few weeks have passed and the team are back. And this time they've brought along a bit of help. The car's driver has also arrived in South Africa, Jean-Eric Verne, or Jev for short. He's been racing in Formula E since its inception and recently recorded his first race victory in Montreal. Apart from being rather good at his job, there's another reason why he's particularly suited to this challenge.
Racing for Cheetah, it was kind of normal. I would come here in South Africa and support the cause of the cheetahs, because it's pretty cool when you think of our name, you know, technology, and cheetah, the fastest animal on Earth. There are only 7,000 cheetah left in the world, and obviously my team is going to push to make some fundraising to try and save those animals.
Before taking part in the challenge, Jev wants to learn more about the effects of global warming on African wildlife, so he's travelled a couple of hours west from Robertson Airfield to Sandbona Reserve. Vincent van der Meer from the Endangered Wildlife Trust has accompanied him.
Right now, South Africa is experiencing one of its worst drought in the past 100 years. And it's going to take at least 2 or 3 years to bounce back from that drought. With the changes in global climate, we're not only seeing an increased frequency in droughts, but we're also seeing greater severity in droughts. And this is very bad for the ecology of this environment. So especially for the prey animals, because during drought periods, there's a lot less food and they lose fitness and condition. It's a wonderful time, however, to be a predator, because it's so much easier to catch the prey animals. And that's exactly what we've seen here. Buffalo severely weakened by the drought. The lion have taken this one. But the problem with droughts is that it destroys ecological balance, and it takes a long time to restore that ecological balance. So the lion are happy for now, but when those rains come back and these guys get nice and fit and strong, they're going to struggle to catch prey once again.
So I've heard that this was a river before, correct?
Yes, so this was a river that last flowed in 2015. This is actually the end of the rainy season.
Oh, the end, so it's gonna get worse.
If you come here in 4 or 5 months, it's gonna be completely brown.
I'd rather be a predator than...
Exactly.
Before Jev leaves the reserve, he wants to see a cheetah in the wild. However, Sanbona is 540 square kilometres in size, and just 3 cheetahs live there. Fortunately, one of the animals is fitted with a transponder. Unfortunately, the range is only 200 metres. Everything you see here is part of the reserve.
We set off for more or less 1 hour, trying and find this one female cheetah lost in the wild. It was very difficult to find her, and when we least expected it, we finally found her, and it was amazing. A special moment.
In the past 13,000 years, cheetah populations have declined by 94%. And this has been mainly due to human population growth and destruction of their habitat. Now, the problem with any species that loses 90% of its individuals is that it loses a lot of genetic diversity in the process. It loses its ability to adapt to new circumstances. And that's where climate change comes in, because cheetah no longer have the genetic diversity to adapt to changing environmental conditions.
Organisations like the Endangered Wildlife Trust are fighting to save the cheetah. One of their solutions is to make the animal physically tougher by getting them used to different climatic conditions and habitats.
Since we started this project, we've relocated 157 cheetah between 40 fenced reserves across the country so that they're better prepared to adapt to the changes in climate that are anticipated in future.
Back at Robertson Airfield, 3 extremely robust cheetahs have now turned up. However, before any test runs can take place, a bit of horticulture is called for. First out the trap is Sarge. What will he think? If the car versus cat challenge is to be successful and safe, it's essential that Luke's animals will chase the lure and not be distracted by their new and unusual environment.
Don't put pressure on him, man. Just let him pull on it and stay. Okay, Sarge, you're going down there. Watch me, boy.
He's purring, which is probably a good sign.
Okay, slip him. Lead off. Yeah, Sarge.
Clockwork.
Okay, come on up. Yeah, come on up.
Next is Zulu. The run itself goes to plan. But it's clear Zulu's not keen to get back in the truck.
Okay. He was romantic.
At least, not the right truck.
Okay, come on down. Let's go. Come. Walk on, come. You're going to sit there now. Let's go down. Come on, let's go. Come on down. Let's go. You're going to have to end up bringing Sarge here too if you make him happy. Coming.
But eventually... Thankfully, Rocket follows the script, and it's clear the cheetahs have not been stressed out by the journey from Luke's farm, easing an earlier concern of his. Meanwhile, Jev's loosening up in the car, and as the airstrip is littered with cheetahs, he heads elsewhere. He might be kicking up some dust, but he's not kicking out any CO2, and that's been a major factor in Formula E's success.
It was very difficult in the beginning, but I think the power of the idea, the power of a championship that promotes clean mobility, that promotes electric cars, has really won the day so far. Many manufacturers have joined us, many partners. Everyone is really committed to our goals. You know, lately we saw Mercedes and Porsche leading all the championships to come to Formula E. We have brands like Audi, like BMW, like Mahindra, like Jaguar, like Renault, like DS, like many others are here with us. And the reason is they believe in the same things we believe, that we need to do something to make the world a better place, to make the world a cleaner place. That's Formula E.
And it seems nations are also waking up to the issue.
We see countries like France, like the UK, banning the sale of internal combustion cars from 2040. More and more people, we can see it when we travel around the world, are really listening to this message and will be taking action also in the coming years.
Final preparations are underway, and now Luke's not the only cheetah expert around.
We're trained to monitor the welfare of animals on set. So we have a look and see that they aren't made to do something that they wouldn't normally do.
Annie Beck-Helling has also arrived. She's the founder of Cheetah Outreach, who are specialists in cheetah conservation.
It was started to bring the cheetah into full focus within the South African community because there was a huge effort to save elephants. These guys were less than 7,000 throughout the world, and nobody was doing anything. So we decided I was going to step up and do something, as you do.
Since 1997, Cheetah Outreach has run education and community-based programs to highlight the cheetah's plight. But it's not just climate change and habitat loss that threaten the animal. Farmers, in particular, kill them because they're regarded as a danger to livestock. So Cheetah Outreach came up with a clever solution.
We found that there was a dog called an Anatolian Shepherd, a very particular dog, has a very particular behavior.
In fact, the Anatolian will naturally chase cheetahs away from farm animals without harming them.
We've placed 270 dogs, and we've actually only lost 3 to predators on farmland since we started. It's the most successful program, and it's making a huge difference for our free-ranging cheetah.
Back at the filming location, Luke's cheetahs were being prepared for another new experience, chasing a quad bike with a rather large camera strapped to it. However, when you're working with wild animals, there's still an element of uncertainty, and Luke knows things could still go wrong.
They don't like strong wind, especially from behind, because then they don't know where a threat is coming from. Any wild animals like that. The winch could break. There could be a little dog running across the road or a chicken. You never know. So far, it's all been good.
But would that good fortune continue? Well, the team were about to find out. Success!
Stay where you are.
But why are cheetahs so incredibly quick?
It's got unbelievable range of motions of the joints. If you have a look, those back legs come almost past the front legs while it's moving. Also, the spine is hugely flexible and the bending and extending is like a spring that propels the cheetah forward.
So how does the Formula E car accelerate so swiftly?
So the big difference between petrol engine car and electric motors is that you got the maximum torque available from 0 RPM with an electric motor. So you got a very linear delivery of power and you can have a huge acceleration.
The Cheetah is also adapted for speed in that it's got a super large heart, super effective heart, and super effective and efficient lungs that can pump a large amount of blood around the body very quickly. It's almost like a carburetor and a turbo on a car, and that's what's required to run at these high speeds.
The maximum power available to the driver is 200 kilowatt, which is approximately 270 horsepower.
The Cheetah has exceptional traction. It's got semi-retractable claws. It's not like lions or leopards or domestic cats that fully retract their claws. And those claws, plus the ridged pads, actually make for an exceptional grip. And you'll see at any one time, there'll only be 1 foot landing.
So when we came here, we didn't know what to expect exactly in terms of maximum grip available on this track. But after a couple of runs, we have found out that the grip is pretty good and we should be able to get a very good start and beat the Cheetah, obviously.
So why do I think the Cheetah would beat the car? Well, the reason being is that it can reach 60 kilometers an hour within 3 strides. And at 7.6 meters per stride, you're talking about reaching 60 kilometers per hour within 21 meters. Let's see if the car can do that.
Maybe not. But remember that both will be hoping to reach 100 kilometers per hour before the finish line. And talking of finish line, just how far from the start will that be? Well, the maths says that an object capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 kph in around 3 seconds will achieve that speed in under 50 meters. So this is going to be the shortest of sprints. What do the other experts predict?
Who will win? The cats, definitely.
And I reckon the cat's going to be quicker out of the blocks, but the car will eventually catch up.
If I think deep and hard about it, I'd really like the car to win this challenge. Because, you know, we as environmentalists are well aware of the fact that 27% of global greenhouse emissions are due to fossil fuel burning cars. And we know that will only change once we have more environmentally friendly cars, electric cars.
I believe I can win the race, but obviously I think as the start of the race, the Cheetah would be much faster than me. Obviously, it's a very light animal, 4-wheel drive or 4-leg drive, I would say, but it's going to be extremely interesting.
I've got no doubt my Cheetahs will win.
Better find out who's right then.
being so close, it delivers exactly what we wanted. Delivers this fight, this fragile animal that wants to thrive and succeed, and one of the key technologies that can help to make the world a place where those fragile animals, that ecosystem, that nature can survive, hopefully, forever. There's going to be electrification and electric cars. So I think it's great.